Welcome to another edition of the Leadership Leverage Executive Coaching Community. So we started off the year in the CEO visionary space, and we talked about job descriptions. And what is the job description of a real CEO and true to life visionary? And we went through a lot of core competencies on that call. If you didn't catch it, I would go back and view it now. However, we're going to continue in the same vein. Knowing what the job description is and knowing what a visionary's job description is, that's like the North Star or the end game. And the way we get to the end game or to the goal is to reverse engineer the process. So now that we know what the job description looks like, what are the steps? So there's strategy and tactics in leadership and in business. Strategy, macro. Tactics, micro. What are the micro steps to get you to the overarching grand horizon of the ideal outcome? That's the goal. That's the goal. And we're talking about a business. I think we started around 100 million. I think that was the goal. Go back and fact check, but I'm pretty sure that was the goal. $100 million business. You're the CEO, you're the visionary, you've got the job description. Now, how do you get there? That's what we're going to be talking about this evening. If anybody has any questions, just hold on to them to the end of the presentation. And if you have any questions, if you're watching this at a later time and you have any questions, send them to support@Shaan Rais. Support@Shaan Rais, and we'll get in contact with you. For now, this is the CEO's MO, or modus operandi, code of conduct. You should always come to any call that we have, pen, paper in hand. MO stands for modus operandi, or code of conduct. Code of conduct. Let me get myself out of here, because whenever I do something, it's never about me and it's always about you. So I don't want you to be distracted. Give me 1 second. Here we go. Stop video. Very good. So to embody and amplify your vision, authority and influence, adopting habits, a culture, and ways of being that align with your goals. As a leader in your vertical/industry, your industry of choice can create the impact and legacy that you're aiming for. You must amplify the vision. You must embody the authority and the influence. You have to adopt the habits and create a culture and a way of being. A lot of people have ways of thinking, ways of doing things, but there's a way of being at the core of you as a CEO and business owner and visionary, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Number one, and this is my code of conduct. So I'm going to be sharing the insights of me. I'm going to be sharing kind of the things that have made me who I am, that have helped me to maintain my position against the ups and downs, the hoops and the hurdles, right? We were talking about the beginning of 2025. So this is being recorded at the beginning of 2025. And already there are ice storms and cold blasts going into the northern regions, and the southern regions, or the West Coast is on fire. It's fire and ice. And it's the beginning of a new year. And it has been like that since the very beginning. Before we started this call, I was talking about how I started the business at the height of COVID. And it was fire and ice. And people were uncertain. So if you find yourself uncertain in your business, if you find yourself uncertain in your leadership, if you find your industry is uncertain and you're in unfamiliar terrain, these things that I'm going to share with you this evening keep you grounded. And more than keep you grounded, keep you on top of your game. So number one is a morning power ritual. You want to begin each day with a structured morning routine. Mine includes meditation, visualizations, affirmations focused on my vision, impact, and legacy. Again, beginning with the end in mind. You want to begin the day with the end of your business, the end of your, perhaps even the end. What do you want people to say about you when you're gone? What does the legacy look like? Visualization techniques can reinforce your brand's mission and create the focus needed for high-level decision-making so that you're not reactive and so that you can be responsive. Because if I'm thinking for tomorrow, I may say no to an opportunity or I may say yes to an opportunity. But if I'm thinking for the 20 years down the line, there's a lot of opportunities that I might say yes to that I would say no to if I'm thinking about tomorrow. 20-year vision, 2-day vision, completely two different things. So when you focus on the long term, it's easier for you to utilize high-level decision-making. And then daily reflection and growth. You want to set aside time for daily reflection on your goals, your intentions, and your interactions with regular people, people in your family, people in your business, and your clients. Use journaling to identify what went well, areas for improvement, and how you can better serve your high-level audience. Anyone watching this, I don't want you to see yourself as a regular business owner, aspiring entrepreneur, 6 figures. It doesn't make a difference where you're at in your career, 6 figures, 7 figures, no figures, 8 figures. There's always better. There's always better and there's always more. Impact, income, and independence. Focus on impact first, then income, and then independence. You're a high-level individual, high-level professional, and the audience that you seek to serve is high-level as well. And if you don't see them as being that way, then you will never be that way and you will never be perceived that way. So monitor your thoughts, monitor your emotions, and monitor your interactions. This third part is extremely important. So many people miss this. And I want you to just take an inventory. Take an inventory of yourself, an honest assessment, and just put a check in the box if this is you, or if you're guilty of not doing this. Consistent content creation and thought leadership. You need to establish a routine of producing content that reinforces your personal brand's values. Are you making content consistently? Are you constantly publishing thought leadership, articles, insights, value? All those things are values. Are you creating value? Most of us would love to get paid. Most of us would really like the sound of money crinkling up in our pockets and not having to look at price tags because the money's overflowing and there's no concern whatsoever about the price of things. Well, ask yourself this: is the value overflowing? Because in order for the money to overflow, the abundance of money to overflow, and for you to be drowning in millions of dollars, you got to ask yourself, is my audience drowning in all of the content and all of the value that I'm producing? Because if not, there's a gap. There's a gap in what you expect and what you're willing to do for what you expect, what you desire and what you're doing. Remember, I said ways of being. You know this is supposed to happen. You know this has to happen. When you look at people that you look up to and that you follow and that you are fans of or followers of or admire, and you quote their stuff, they produce content consistently for you to be able to quote, for you to be able to say, look at this one. Their production is incredible. And we want to be parallel with those people that we look up to, those people that we admire, those people that we respect. This is why I wrote the first book. I thought about it. How do I do the things that the people that I look up to are doing, the people that are active in the marketplace? How do I do what they're doing? And I noticed something. I said, all of them got a book. Most of them got 5, 6, 7. But every last one of them, every single, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, Brian Tracy, every single one of them got a book. So what did I do? I produced the content. And many of you may not know this, but my second book came about from this third section right here. I was very well known from the first book for positive motivation, transformational coaching and mindset. I was very well known for that, success principles. I said, okay, what's my next star? Because your business is a Milky Way. And if you stay stuck, you're not growing. So what's my next star? What do I want to be known for next? And for me, it was leadership. I have a very strong passion for leadership. But nobody knew it really because I was a leader, but I wasn't a leader in leadership. I was a leader in success, motivation, transformational thinking, power principles, success principles. That was my foundation. Positive thinking. And then I shifted and said, I want to be known for leadership. So I went to LinkedIn and I began to create content every single day for LinkedIn. Every single day on LinkedIn, I'm creating content. And I chose the month of January. So I chose the month of January because it's 31 days. Just think about that, 31 days. I said, this is the longest month. Let me hit this now. And every single day from the 1st to the 31st, I wrote a thought article piece, a long one. And then about 3 months later, I said, it's about time for me to start my second book. So how can I start my second book? I started doing the work, right? So I started doing the work in the book and I'm writing and I get to chapter 2. And I said, hold on, I've done this before. I said, as a matter of fact, I just did this. And I went to LinkedIn. And listen, so interesting. I go to LinkedIn. Very good. So let me get back to this phenomenal training. I know exactly what I was talking about. I started the LinkedIn articles just to be known for leadership. And then when I started writing the second book, I stopped and said, why am I working so hard? I just did this, guys, and listen to this. I went back to LinkedIn and grabbed all of the articles that I did, and it became this book. It became the first half. It became the first half of the book. So just think about that. I'm doing something on leadership to be known for leadership on LinkedIn, and then I turn around and actually what I was doing was I was writing the book. So how beneficial do you think it would be to start writing, to start publishing content, to start doing the thought leadership piece, realistically? So that's what I did. I wrote the book by mistake. I didn't know I was writing the second book, but I wrote the second book. And I became known for leadership at the same time. At the same time was when I went from branded like a leader to coaching like a leader to speak. I got the idea because I was publishing. So ask yourself this question: am I publishing? And if not, why? And if not now, why? And if not now, when? And if not you, who? We cannot be mad or disparaging or looking at other people who are making our money when we're not making their level of content. Think. Who's out producing me? And what can I do about it today? Writing and recording weekly insights and thought leadership pieces for LinkedIn or a blog can consistently position you as a go-to authority. For any of you who follow me on LinkedIn, you see that I publish every single day without stop. Every single day, there's a blog that comes out. That's my commitment to leadership. Network building and mentorship. Invest in building meaningful relationships through mentorship, both by mentoring emerging leaders and by engaging with high-level mentors who can challenge and elevate your vision. Being an active mentee and mentor solidifies your reputation as a growth-focused, service-driven leader. You must be active. If you believe in coaching, you must be coaching, and you must be coachable, and you must be getting coached. And I mean formally enrolled in a coaching program, mentor-mentee relationship building on both sides. If you're a client only, then you're a receiver, which is how many coaches begin. That's okay. But at some point, there has to be a transition where you go from mentee to mentor. I teach this in every course, but I taught specifically that you don't have to be a 10 to be a coach or a 7-figure speaker or a high-powered consultant, but you have, as a 7, you can teach a 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As a 4, you can teach a 3, 2, 1. Does everybody follow? As a 6, you can teach a 5. As a 4, you can teach a 3. As a 1, you can teach someone who has no idea what you're talking about. They used to call me Preach. Here comes Preach. Because I wore that white shirt that you see every single day on every single job that I had. Even if it was dressed down Friday or Sunday, and they would see me coming, and the negative people would look away and start to run. When the light comes in the room, the dark tends to scatter. So I would come in the room, and all the negative Nellies would start to run out. And the other ones would say, here comes Preach. I wonder if he's got a good word for us today. And they knew I always did. But I was also a quiet mentee. So when I came around those who needed what I had to give them, I would be heard speaking. But when I came around those who had what I needed to learn, you would not hear a peep from me. I would be sitting next to them, listening to them talk and taking notes like I was in school, because I was. Who do you need to be a mentee of? And are you being a mentor to people who need to be mentored by you? Or are you too busy? Trust me. You can't learn without doing. Write that down. You can't learn without doing, and you'll learn more through doing than listening, even to this call. You'll do more in active service than you will in silent studentship. Start helping people and watch how much you learn and watch how fast it takes place. Self-education and industry insight. Stay ahead by reading, researching, and learning continuously about your industry. Everybody here represents a different psychographic, demographic, industry vertical, level of leadership. Beautiful. But continue to learn there. I've got 1 master's degrees, to 2 masters, to 3, to 1 doctorate. And before that, but it was interesting because it's so interesting. When I finished all the coursework for the first doctorate, they came to me and said, okay, Shaan, you're going to start the PhD now. You're going to go into the dissertation phase. And I said, wait, hold on. I don't know enough. Yeah, I said, no, I'm not comfortable yet. I don't know enough to really start this dissertation. It's a PhD in organizational development and change. That's my first one. I said, no, I'm not, I don't feel. The funniest thing in the world, I've done this twice, almost 3 times. I was in one college, I got the master's degree for industrial and organizational psychology. They said, okay, you're going to go into the PhD phase now. I said, hold on, wait, I'm not ready yet. And I went and got a master's degree in organizational development and change. Then they said, okay, great. When I got that master's, they said, okay, great. You're going to start the dissertation phase now. And I said, no, wait. And I went and got another master's degree in leadership, specifically an education degree at EdD, master's in education. And I was like, that was something that had always been a challenge for me because, believe it or not, I wasn't the best guy in formal middle school, like junior high school. I wasn't that guy. I'm from Harlem, a place where it was kind of soft and weak to be smart. It was nerdy. It wasn't cool. Sometimes it wasn't safe either, because if you were super smart, you were preyed upon. So I didn't really do great in school. So I got these master's, MA and an MS, but I was always challenged by education. So I said, let me do something that I haven't done. I still had a hurdle to jump. Like I was still nervous about something. I had a hurdle to jump, a challenge for me. And it was that master's degree in education that terrified me the most. And I said, if I could get a master's degree in education, then I will have kind of come full circle, really. I got 2 master's degrees, but I still don't feel accomplished. Do you understand what I'm saying? I still don't feel accomplished. I still don't feel worthy. I still don't feel qualified. So let me challenge myself in a place where I know I struggle. And I got a master's degree in leadership, master's of education. So then and only then was I able to go back and say, okay, we can start the PhD in organizational development and change. And when I finished all the coursework, I'm talking about 2-year blocks here, 2-year blocks each one, another 2-year block to finish all the coursework. And they're like, okay, Shaan, you're going to begin the dissertation. You got 3 master's degrees. You're going to get a PhD in this. And I said, hold on, wait. Again, I don't feel qualified yet. And I went back for an Ed.D. in leadership and went through all the coursework in leadership. So I really know what I'm talking about when I say leadership. I wanted to make sure that I really knew what I was talking about, number one. And number two, I really wanted to make sure that I was qualified to transfer the education. A PhD is one thing, and Ed.D. is another. It's almost like a side D. It's the transference and the communication and the providing, or the providing to another of the content and the curriculum, which is what I do as an educator. So I said, I didn't feel qualified. I had to keep digging, guys. Keep digging. Again, everybody wants the reward. They want the plaques on the wall. They want the car keys. They want the house. They want the money. But they got to put the work in. You're going to want to put the work in to get the results. You will get the results. This is my guarantee. If you follow the MO of a real CEO, you will become that. You will become 7, 8, 9 figures. But before you become 8 figures, you got to become 8 figures. You got to become that before you can hold it. Or when you get it, you won't keep it. Does that make sense? Think about lottery winners. They get it, but it doesn't do them well. It does them harm. So we're here talking about the CEO MO, and I'm not done yet. Now I'm completed with both courseworks, and I'm on the 3rd chapter of the 1st dissertation. And I've been here for a minute because I'm super active in the work with my clients, bringing them the reality of the work. Books, podcasts, and webinars that keep you informed ensure your advice and your approaches are rooted in the latest industry insights. Knowledge is ever changing. And if you stopped learning last year, okay, so if you stop learning and if you're learning and research and thirst for knowledge stops in 2024, you'll never learn what AI is giving us. You'll never learn the gifts that AI is providing for us, so you'll never be able to harness the future. Your relevance. Have you ever heard that your value ends at your last performance? Most people want to be celebrated tomorrow for what they did yesterday. You go around people, they'll have old stories. They'll talk about how it was. You ever know the person that talks about high school? Being the high school senior in football. I was the captain. I was the captain in 1978. You don't want to be the person who plays to the past. You want to be the person who is apt, able, and present to harness the future. And you only do that through self-education and industry insights. I read no less than 20 pages a day every day. That's usually a light day for me, but no less. than 20 pages a day in my competency, and at least 10 to 20 inside of my spirituality. And sometimes I'll read, if it's a good day, I'll read 20, 20, 20 in spirituality, leadership, and another competency, usually the next one that I'm trying to harness. I try to stay in 3 to 4 books at a time. Culture and environment. Culture and environment. You want to create a culture of precision and high standards. You want to set a culture of excellence and precision around every single thing that you do, every single thing, every client interaction, every piece of content, every communication should reflect high standards, the highest of standards, and attention to detail, showing that you value quality and respect your client's time and investment. I did say I'm flying, right? First thing in the morning, which means I got to get up middle of the night. But I'm still here doing this myself. I have a team. I could have passed this to my team, but I said, no, let me do it myself. It's responsibility. It's admiration. It's respect for you and myself. So I want you to understand that. And understand that in excellence, there are no excuses. There's only an E and an X. Transparency and authenticity. You want to create a culture where transparency and authenticity are key. Be clear and genuine in how you communicate. Showing your challenges, showing your clients that you understand their challenges, and that you're a trusted resource who walks the talk. I know a lot of people who talk the walk, but they don't walk the walk. They just talk the walk. Luxury and exclusivity mindset. Reinforce a high-end culture by ensuring that everything from your messaging to your presentation feels tailored, polished, and exclusive. Clients who pay for premium service expect premium experiences. We've already talked and established that a lion can't eat from mice. You're big, you want to be big. You got a big family, you got a big business, you got people to feed. Everybody has a big appetite. You can't get there on small ticket alone. Small ticket is an entry point. Your goal is premium service. Last week, we talked about $100 million business. It's going to be very hard to get there with 97-cent services. So you want premium services for premium clients, but for those premium services and premium clients, you need premium experiences and a culture of exclusivity around your brand, which will set you apart. Service and legacy-focused values. Lead with a culture. This is CEOMO. Lead with a culture centered on service, contribution, and legacy building, demonstrating that your brand is about creating lasting impact and not just financial gain. It has to be bigger than money to you, or you'll never get to the money. I have to look into my eyes. It has to be more than about money for you, or you'll never get to the money. It won't work. Express to your clients that your work is about helping them leave a meaningful legacy. Remember, we put meaningfulness over money, people over profit, value over valuation, and community continuity, coaching, curriculum over compensation. You will be compensated to the degree that you're able to communicate effectively. That was a hard one for me. I kept trying different things. YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I did videos on Twitter almost 10 years ago, videos on Twitter. Before Instagram was a thing. This is why we were successful with creating funnelized social media platforms. This is why we're so successful with branding, because I did this for so many years trying to figure it out and not getting it right, that we fine-tuned and tweaked and perfected and polished. And then our social media platforms became funnels because I took my time and I was meticulous and I was dedicated. So now when we say we can help you turn your social media into a funnel or social media into business media, that's what we mean. And I've demonstrated it by doing, this is the thing people don't understand. They think I was just born and then in 90 days we did 450K. No, I struggled and fought and scraped and toiled and tweaked and lost and learned and came back and we created and reinvented. And then something happened where I went live, and within 90 days, we did $500,000. But there was a whole trajectory. There's a whole life before that. Most people hear it and they're like, okay, so I can do $500,000 in 90 days. Yes, you can. But you got to learn what was learned in the 9 years prior to. Or the 90 days will never come for you. Does everybody understand? You got to do the work, or at least you got to learn the work, right? So you might not have to do the exact work and struggle all the stuff that I had to do. You won't have to do it. But if you can't learn what I teach humbly enough and deeply enough to execute what I executed, then you'll never do what we do. So most people want what you have, but they're not willing to do what you've done. You might want to scratch the needle on the record. They want what you have, but they're not willing to do what you've done. Legacy-focused values. Collaboration and empowerment. Foster an environment of collaboration by engaging with clients and audiences as partners. Ask yourself, who are you partnering with? Who am I partnering with? I'm flying tomorrow into the storm to go partner. That's what I'm doing. Shaking hands, kissing babies. People looking at me like, why would you fly into that? Because I care, and because it's business, and because I'm not afraid. And I have a job to do because this is what I'm sworn to do. It's a calling for me. It's not about money for me, because if it was about money, I wouldn't go. I'd be like, I'm not going, I'm not flying into that, but it's for purpose. So I can't deny the call. Foster an environment of collaboration by engaging with clients and audiences as partners. Clients should feel they are actively contributing to the journey, encouraged to speak, reflect, and co-create solutions rather than just being passively led. I'm giving you keys. When you're having your conversations, your community conversations, after this, we're going to go into Q&A. For those of you watching this, you won't be entitled to that because you're not here, but you can send an email to support@ShaanRais, and you also will be included in a conversation, because it's not one-way dialogue. It's not a monologue, it's a dialogue. Personal and professional mannerisms. This changes everything. Intentional listening and insightful responses. Confident, calm communication. And inspiring presence. High integrity in your language and actions, and elegance in presentation and style. You're watching this and hopefully you're taking notes. You should be learning a lot. Everything we do is evidence-based. So if you actually execute on what's taught here, you will get results of all kinds: impact, income, independence, money, good homes, friendships in all walks of life. This is all possible. As a matter of fact, it's promised for those who can listen and apply. Apply being the most applicable word here. Mindset and philosophy. Long-term impact and legacy. We're still talking about CEO-MO, modus operandi code of conduct, a CEO's code of conduct. Chief Excellence Officer. I know they say Chief Executive Officer, but Chief Excellence Officer is what we're talking about primarily. Long-term impact and legacy. Embrace a mindset where every action, message, and decision you make is a step towards creating a lasting impact and legacy. Operate with the philosophy that each client's success is a reflection of your dedication to transformational leadership. When you heard a glitch, so there was a break in this training. There was a small, short break. The break came when a client contacted me. I stopped the recording, picked up the phone, and communicated with that client. Why? Because he is important. Every single one of my clients are important and treated to the highest degree of authenticity, genuine respect, care and concern, and selfless servant leadership. This is what we're sworn to. And everything that you may appreciate or follow for or look to have and acquire for yourself is a result of that. Abundance and value first approach. Operate from an abundance mindset, focusing on the value, not the money, the value and transformation that you provide to clients rather than on immediate monetary gains. This value first mentality, write that down, value first mentality. This value first mentality naturally attracts clients who are prepared to invest significantly in their growth. Adaptability and open-mindedness. Stay adaptable to changes in the industry and client needs. Client needs change. COVID brought an entirely new swatch of client needs. Remote work brought an entirely new swatch of client needs. Leaders are wondering, how do I communicate with people that I don't have in the office, that I can't see, that I never met? International clients that I've never met. How can I control? You can't control. You got to motivate. You got to inspire. There's changes taking place. Being open to new perspectives while holding a clear vision. That's the thing. People hear a new thing and they lose the vision. No, your tactics change. Your strategy remains. Your ways and actions change, but your strategy, the purpose of your existence, your morals, values, and principles remain the same. Those don't change. Those are non-wavering. But being open to new perspectives allow you to serve clients better and keep your methods innovative and relevant. Before COVID happened, I was on floors. I was on the floor, walking, touching, speaking, articulating the same value that I'm teaching now virtually. I did it physically. In the room, flying to organizations and speaking for succession planning, leadership development, executive coaching. But I learned technology before it was needed. Please pay attention to this. This is a key. I learned something that I did not need at the time. Why? Just to stay adaptable and to keep an open mind. Think about it. When COVID happened, I was able to I was able to flip the switch like a light bulb and just go immediately into a virtual and serve and communicate and add value and extract what most people probably know me for and look for. That was like the third part. The first part was being able to do it. The second part was actually doing it and then being evaluated for it and it being extracted that value was added here. Massive value was added here. But if I didn't know how to utilize technology, I'd be as stuck as everybody else. And if I just tried to extract money, I'd appear as sleazy and as thirsty as everybody else. Remember, we didn't start with a sale. We started with value. I didn't even know what it looked like on this side. Through the service, please hear this part. Through the selfless service, my clients guided me to what they needed. They sold me on what and how to sell them because I didn't know. That wasn't why I was here. I was here to add value and help people get out from under the bed during COVID and be wives to their husbands, husbands to their wives, and fathers and mothers to their children, and leaders to their community. And they said, nah, Shaan, this is too good. I don't want to go nowhere. What can I pay to stay? How can I pay you to do this more often? As a matter of fact, can you teach on this? As a matter of fact, I wish I knew this. I need to learn the way you do this. And all of those things came with the price tag. And the market always told me what they were willing to pay for it. But I never would have known, and they never would have offered had I not added value. Had I not been willing to sacrifice and serve without a price tag in the back of it. My communication didn't come with a charge. My communication did not come with a price tag. I did webinars every week. I didn't even call them webinars. I did lives, Leadership Live, Deep Dive at 5, with no offer and no upsell or ascension ladder at the back end of it. And because I gave so genuinely, people said, hold on, this is worth value. How much money would you accept to do this more? I said, okay, you want to pay for this? And I had my program. Service-oriented leadership. I think this is the right time for that. Position yourself as a leader who is genuinely here to serve and uplift others. I learned this through doing it. It wasn't my strategy. That's the difference. It wasn't my strategy. I learned it as a result. I learned what it was after I did it. I had to research it and put what I had done under the microscope and say, what is this? And tweak it and pop it and change the filament and say, oh, that's what it was. This is what it was. Service-oriented leadership. Service-driven language and an ethos. That means an ethical spirit of supporting clients beyond the contract. Beyond the contract. Will create an unmatched experience that drives lasting client relationships because it's bigger than money for me. Now, at some point, yes, to extract so much time, there has to be payment. So much value, there must be payment. For people don't pay, but to a certain degree, when they don't pay attention, but to a certain degree until they pay and feel the payment leaving so they can feel the need to apply, to acquire an accumulative value. So I pay 10, I want 100. You pay 10, you should get 100. You pay 100, you should get 1,000. You pay 1,000, you should get 10,000. You pay 10,000, you should get 100,000. You pay 100,000, you should get 1,000,000. But only if you apply. That's the way it works. If I pay 100, the universe respects my investment. And yes, I could get 1,000 if I apply. It doesn't give me deservingness, it gives me availability. Please understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is because I invest 100, it doesn't mean that I deserve 1,000. Because I invest 100, it means I have access to getting the 1,000 through application of what I learned through the 100. But if I don't apply it, then I don't deserve it. Empathy and connection. I want to say something about this service-driven language and ethos of supporting clients beyond the contract. This is so interesting. I'm learning as I'm doing this. Just for example, an edification of what I'm talking about and teaching you. I served people before the contract. The contract came into being because I served people beyond the contract. Do you understand? Before was beyond. Time and space really don't exist when you start building phenomenal business and leading with value, because watch this. I used to call people to a training that I said was going to be 60 minutes and it ended up being, Bobby, 340. And sometimes 340, we would have calls for 4 hours. We would start at 7 and sometimes we would end at 11. And that's because the energy, the spirit, the ethos of learning, the spirit of servant leadership would just sweep into the room. And before you turn around, you look up and it's been 3 hours. And I'm talking about sometimes free trainings. So before the contract came into being, I served people beyond the contract. And because the contract came about from service beyond the contract, if there was a problem and a client couldn't pay or the agreement wasn't kept to a specific degree, I still served beyond the contract because it's morals, values, and principles. It's not tit for tat horse trading. You give me this, I give you that. You give me this, I give you that. No, that's cheap. It's cheap. And it really has no place here. That's at a restaurant. So if you're not in the restaurant business, give more than you receive. Empathy and connection. Cultivate empathy as a core part of your brand. Understanding the emotional aspects of high-level branding and professional transition. You are creating a high-level brand. That creates emotion in other people. Just know it. I don't care if you don't consider yourself to be a high-level brand. You got a website. You've got a business. You've got a book. You've got confidence. You've got clients. You've got a coaching certification. That puts you here and your clients here. It's called a power differential, a power dynamic. And they perceive you here, even if you don't perceive yourself here. But with the perception of being here is a great responsibility that comes with it. Act like it. Act like it. And stop seeing yourself down here and everybody up here. And if you do that, by grace and mercy, you'll be here. And hopefully, you'll be powerful enough to get here with people. That professional transition will help you connect more deeply with clients, addressing their aspirations and their fears with compassion and relevance as opposed to a charge and a money grab. That's when you'll start getting what you're looking for and more than you're actually worth. Remember, adopting these habits, mannerisms, and values will reinforce your brand's authority, trustworthiness, and premium positioning. It will help you attract and retain high-level clients who align with your vision and are willing to invest. Everything we went through up to this point is a CEO's MO. These are operating principles that I live my life by. This is why we are where we are. This is why we've been able to do what we've been able to do. That and God's grace and mercy. Questions. If you have any questions and you're watching this at a later time, send your questions to support@ShaanRais. It's my pleasure to serve you.